Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of What Do You Need to Know to Live in Costa Rica? Today, we're back to answering your questions. It has been a long time since we've done a Q&A. We said we were doing these monthly. They have stopped being monthly. We are very sorry. I am Patrick Jager, joined as always. Hello, that just zoomed in on me. That was cool. I am Patrick Jager, joined as always by my good friend and business partner, Mr. Aaron Bailey. Hello, sir.
Hello, Patrick, from my new studio, aka my home office.
Okay, Aaron moved. He lived in a really bougie high rise that had a gorgeous view, but there's the when I first land view, and then there's the let's get practical and find a place that we feel really comfortable to nest in. And
Good
you
point.
have found a nest. I love
I
your
have
nest.
found a nest. Yep. A few minor things that I miss, like the view,
Yeah.
but I have a rooftop here that has a very different but equally amazing view. So I'm really happy here.
You know what I love about your place too is like you have neighbors that care. Like,
That's
everybody has
true.
plants out in front of their
That's true.
places and people are nice. I mean, it's much smaller, so you have the ability to do
Yes.
that. But yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to be here.
Yay.
So,
All right. So today we're going to answer some questions that we've gotten off of, and it's been a while, so we've amassed quite a few questions. So we're just going to randomly pick ones we like. But
yep.
Aaron, before that, what do people need to know?
We would really appreciate a thumbs up button on this video, like, subscribe, share with all your friends who are interested in Costa Rica. The feedback that we get from these videos really helps us, not only helps us to hear what you're thinking about and what you're going through, but also helps other people find these videos. So thank you so much for participating in this community.
I went out to dinner last night with clients, and the night before with clients, weirdly. But the ones yesterday, that he just kept talking about the husband of the pair kept talking
Yep.
about how much he loves the videos, and it was very touching. I'm not trying to brag on that, but it was really touching.
Shout out to Tom and Ashley, though. So,
No, actually. All right. With that, we have, as you know, we love to go through questions and we try to answer them. Some of these turn into their own topics. Some of these really um, create new ways of us thinking. We're going to talk about that in one of the questions. But these are random. So, Aaron, I did not put them in any kind of order. I'm just going to let you pick what you want to pick. I will pick what I want to pick. You
great.
go.
I mean, let's go with the big one at the top of the page. Why it's so hard to find narcotics here?
Okay.
I think that's a question for you. It's not even a question, first of all. It's a statement with a yeah. It anyway. Why is it so hard to find narcotics here? First of all, we are law-abiding residents and visitors in Costa Rica. Um, I don't even know how to approach this question because yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is what I would say. So pharmacies as a whole are very well stocked and have a lot of things. A lot of them are alternatives. I will say that there's a certain elevation of drug, opioids, and narcotics that are hard to find here. I think part of that is they just don't believe in them in the same way as we are reliant on them in the States. Um, uh, I think that's my only answer.
I was thinking that they were referring to something else.
Uh,
Illegal narcotics.
well, okay. So you're going to the wrong beach. Um,
Yeah.
there is a
That
thing. There's a thing. I remember when my son was in college and we were walking on the beach in Tamarindo, and it's pot, cocaine, women, and like literally every third person would come up to us, and he's like, and I'm like, no, no,
no.
no, and no.
Right.
So I mean, don't do it. You are setting yourself up for. You want to say like who are the people that are going to get into crime or be victims of crime? Asking for drugs on the beach in Tamarindo at 2 in the morning, you're kind of asking for it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh, I totally read that one wrong. All right.
Well, maybe I read that one wrong, but whoever asked that,
Well,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know how we, yeah.
Okay, so here's
Anyway,
one. We have
yep.
a hybrid RAV4 and they're exempt from import tax. If you had a vehicle that's exempt, would you ship it? We talk to our clients about this a lot. Shipping versus non-shipping. I would not ship it personally. I don't know if there's a reason to ship most people I don't know if there's a reason to ship your car. The cost of shipping and having to wait until you can have your residency to ship said car, which would mean you'd probably be renting it before that. You would be smarter, probably, if you're going to live here full time, to have a car because you also knowing that the cars that you have the parts needed to repair them. Now, a RAV4, yes, I mean, Toyotas are everywhere here, and there's a huge Toyota uh, plant in terms of parts, but I don't think I would. You?
First of all, I'm not sure if it is import free. We'd have to check on that. But even if it was duty free, you're still going to spend a few $1,000s and wait a couple of months to get a car shipped into Costa Rica. So there's that cost.
Yeah.
So you'd have to just run the numbers, and that's something that we help our clients do all the time is to get connected with the right international shipper and then do the math.
Yep.
And I would say 95% of the time we're finding that it does not make sense for our clients in various scenarios. There's a lot of nuance here, but various scenarios to ship a car to Costa Rica.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Let's see. You can live in a beach town in Mexico for about half what it costs in Costa Rica.
Which beach town are you going to?
I don't know if you've been to Puerto Vallarta lately. It's super expensive. I don't know if you like, but compared to Tamarindo, maybe not. I don't know. But the thing is, you're comparing a very small country to a very large country. And of course, you can go find a remote beach in Mexico and live probably at a different level of expenses than you could in Costa Rica.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not your only factor in moving to a new country. So you've got to take into all the things, all the considerations. If this beach town in Mexico is in the middle of nowhere, you're getting to and from, are you getting, near healthcare? There's a very nuanced conversation to be had based on your personal criteria, and making blanket statements like this might not be helpful for someone else.
I'm going to add to that if your number one, kind of add what you said, if your number one priority is cost, you're right. There's a lot of places you could go. You can go to Belize. You can go to a beach in Guatemala. You can go, there's a lot of different places. A lot of people are doing El Salvador now. Like there are places you can go that's a lot cheaper. This is not a cheap country. This is I read a statistic the other day that it's the third highest GDP in Latin America. I don't know if that's true, but regardless, this is not necessarily a cheap country. So we do think that the cost of living probably pushes some people where Costa Rica is not right for you, and it just isn't right, and that's okay. But there's also the idea that you might want to, it is safety, it's proximity, it's ingress, egress. If what you love is having very American product and feeling closer to what you have at home, Mexico might be right for you. But yeah, I agree with you. It's a very big statement. Okay. So this is one I'm going to read, and this is a rephrase because I couldn't find the initial email. But this is related to the term expat. Expats has a very negative connotation of white or Western dominance and hierarchy, as if you are better than locals. You are immigrants. Say that. You are not better than us, and we actually resent expats. If you want to be one of us, first be real about your status. Um, this comment has really affected us, Aaron and myself. Um, we are very conscious because we agree with you. We are immigrants to Costa Rica with all the perks and negatives of being an immigrant. There is a backlash against expats right now because we gentrify and like there are parts of Guanacaste that locals cannot live in. Same thing's true in Colorado. Try being a ski lift operator and living in Vail. It's very hard to do. But we're doing this to another country because we come in and we want the beachfront property and we want this and that and we don't want to have to speak Spanish and we don't want to have to integrate and. We are truly trying to change the paradigm of that conversation. So for the person that gave us this note, please know that we very much took it to heart. Yeah, Aaron, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would also say that I am an expat from the United States. I've expatriated myself from
Yeah.
the United States. My sister has done the same thing from to France. So she and I have a very similar story in leaving the United States. But I'm an immigrant to Costa Rica. She's an immigrant to France. Very different experiences in that regard. So yes, I think helping our clients shift into the immigrant mode is one of the most important things that we can do, and that deserves an entirely different video. We could talk about this for hours, but it's really about a change of mind, body, and heart, and
Well,
really integrating yourself into Costa Rica in ways that honors the country and its people and contributes positively at the end of the day.
well said. All right, let's do a couple more. Go for it.
Let's see. Speaking of, Guanacaste has gotten so expensive. Healthcare is good in Costa Rica if you can afford it. I need knee surgery. I'm a resident and pay for Caja. I need to wait 4 years before I might get surgery. How can you say you did not live somewhere, how can you say you did not live somewhere but do not like it? I do not think they are being realistic. I'm not sure I understand the question or the comment here. Do you?
Yeah, I think the question is, but you answer it. I think the question is like people come in and say, "Oh, it's to this," but they're not living here. This is someone who's saying, "Listen, I live here. I know what it's like.
Right.
I have accepted that by moving here, I am now in a queue to get my surgery because this is the system you're not being realistic by thinking you can have it all overnight." I think is the
Very true. Yeah, that's very true. I think, in many regards, the Costa Rican healthcare system is amazing and great, but it's not perfect. And I think you really need to look at the whole big picture before making a potential move to Costa Rica. And so that means that in the public system here, you have to wait for surgeries that aren't life threatening. In the public system. In the private system, you can have them pretty quickly. So it's really about navigating your specific needs, your story, into what Costa Rica, the public system, and the private system can provide, and figuring that all out. And that's something we help our clients with all the time.
the thing I would add to that is it's not an either or. It can be a both. Like a lot of
Right.
people have Caja plus private insurance. Once have your residency here, you can apply for private insurance as well. Think of it kind of like Medicare and Medicare supplement in the States if you're retired, or the difference between an HMO and a PPO if you have insurance. You can, if Caja is the HMO, you can buy private insurance to make it more of a PPO. And a lot of people do that so that they have the options. And I think you're 100% right. It depends on each person. What's your financial availability? What's your risk tolerance? How much are you willing to change? I have my gardeners here today. probably the most salt of the earth man I've ever known. He's been waiting for a shoulder surgery for 4 years. He still gardens every day because he's like, that's what I do. And I think he's going to get to the point that they're ready for the surgery and his shoulder has fixed itself, just because he worked so hard. Um, okay, a couple more. I'm going to do one. I'm thinking about relocating my son and myself from the UK. I can't handle the gray weather and gray society anymore. Are there any community areas I should look out for that would be a good for single moms, please? So my answer is that is a vastly too broad of a question for me to answer on a video or a blog. That is what our service does. The whole idea of Your Pura Vida is that we take this compact but diverse country and help you find your slice of it. Um, really take into consideration your needs, the needs of your child. You know, is this son in school age? And if so, what kind of schooling do they need? You know, and. So like that's really the nuance of what we do. I'd love to be able to give you this advice for free, but I would like, there's too much information I would need. And more importantly, this is kind of what we do for a living. But I will tell you that if you, once you have a child that you're bringing into the consideration factor, you know, we have a whole education advisory section of our company, which really is about narrowing in to find the perfect school. And we would say that trumps everything. Find the right school, and then the communities around there will follow. But don't start with the community first, start with the school first.
Absolutely. Let's go to, is Escazú, San Jose much cooler than Atenas? Elevation seems higher in San Jose.
I'm only laughing. No, you're answering this, but I'm only laughing because so we get so many people that are like, oh, we're really interested in Atenas, and I live in Atenas. But Aaron's always like, there are more places in Atenas. So,
Right.
Aaron, is Escazú, San Jose much cooler than Atenas?
Well, first of all, Escazú is a very large place with various elevations to live in. Same goes for Atenas. I I think at the end of the day, if you plopped someone down in Escazú blindfolded and then in Atenas and asked them to feel the difference, I don't think you would feel the difference.
I'm surprised you just said that.
I think they're probably very similar. Like if you're generalizing weather, I think they're probably pretty similar. But I've never lived in either place, so
Yeah, but when I think about it, I mean, you're Romisar, you're right next to Escazú. Like,
well, not really because we're down the hill. Like there are parts of Escazú that are
that's
up the
true.
hill.
But I'm only saying it because it feels to me like it is always, it feels like when I'm warm, you're like, no, it's pretty chilly here today. And I don't know
Yeah,
if we ever get the reverse where, yeah, I'm
right.
freezing, you're like, I'm boiling.
I don't know. That's a good question. But here's the thing. Go on your weather app every day and just
Um,
do a comparison. But I'm guessing it is a few degrees difference, few degrees Fahrenheit difference.
here, and you can't, because you're recording on your phone, right? So you can't look at your weather right now.
Correct. I can't look at the weather right now. So pull it.
I'm
Yeah.
looking, I'm looking at mine. Yeah, it's 83 here right now with a high of 87. There you
We
go.
should be immigrants and change to Celsius. But
I know. It's in the 20s. Okay, let's do two more.
awesome.
What? So I'm going to do the snarky one
Okay.
because there's always a snark, and I don't have to put them on here, but I guess my question is, why does someone feel like if you're sitting here watching our video and then you feel like you have to put snark on, just don't watch the video.
Yeah.
Now, but I'm going
There's
to answer. I'm going
so
to
many
answer.
other videos.
Yeah, go to snark someone else's videos. But if you want to snark ours, here's one. For a couple of guys with the business of helping people move to Costa Rica, you really don't seem to know much about Costa Rica. Guns are not hard to come by. The last I checked, the per capita murder rate of Costa Rica was 2.4 times the US, and it is temporary pensionado residency, not a visa. I heard enough here to know you guys don't know what you're talking about. Well, respectfully, don't watch our videos.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, we are not saying we are the experts. I don't have a degree in Costa Rican. Like that is not, I didn't go to school for this. I'm giving you mine and Aaron's shared experiences of living here. But if you're going to snark on, we said it was a visa, not residency. Okay. Did you get the gist of the video? I'm sorry that we weren't 100% correct for you, but let's go through this. Guns are not hard to come by. Well, yeah, black market guns are not necessarily hard to come by, but you don't hear about gun violence here like you do
There
in
is,
there
but you
is.
don't hear about it to the extent of the
No,
United States.
no. I
It
mean,
permeates everything in the US.
right, guns are the United States. The Second Amendment is, trumps everything, basically, it feels like. And here, that's not the case. So we didn't say that guns are non-existent, but you can't legally get a gun easily here.
Right.
That doesn't mean that someone who has a farm doesn't have a gun to, spook off a jaguar. But that's not what we were talking about.
Right.
The last I checked, the per capita murder rate of CR was 2.4 times the US. Okay, first of all, the US is massive. So what the murder rate in a small county in Idaho totally skews the murder rate of the country. So you're
Yeah.
talking about massive apples and oranges. Um, we have never said that there is not a crime rate here. There is a moderate crime rate, a mild to moderate crime rate, if you look at statistics. But what we have said is that most people that immigrate to Costa Rica are not going to experience a feeling of crime
Right.
because where they live is not somewhere that's it's susceptible. You can go down the street in a Mexican resort, and all of a sudden there are guns blazing, and it's not common, but also people don't go like, oh my God, that's never happened here before. If that happened here, people would be flabbergasted. So I appreciate the fact that we are giving us our opinion and you have a different opinion. And I appreciate the fact that there are nuanced ways to think about this. But come on, uh, I've heard enough here to know you guys don't know what you're talking about. Well, respectfully, screw you. Don't watch our videos.
There's also the aspect of this is a small country, but it's an incredibly diverse country in opportunities. And our story is not going to be your story. Our story is not going to be our client's story. What we are trying to do here, and I think we do pretty well, is we help you discover your own story in Costa Rica. And that you're coming in with all sorts of different nuances, different baggage, different life circumstances that are not going to equal ours. And we are here to help you adapt and figure out how you can really truly integrate into Costa Rica. And that's going to be a different story for every single person.
There are a couple more questions, but I think we can hold it there. I mean, I didn't mean to end on a downer by any means, but I
Yeah.
think that this is really it. I think you hit the nail on the head. We do these Q&As in particular because we get a lot of not random questions, but questions that don't necessarily warrant a whole video.
Yeah.
We Please send us your questions. The more we hear from you, the more that we research, the more that we correct ourselves. We are not always right, but we are always honest with our
That's right.
thoughts. So we'd love to hear from you. Please, please, please add comments here. Share if you like this. Thumbs up. We are growing this very organically. We very specifically have not spent money to buy an audience. We really want this to be an organic growth. We are very, very busy right now, and we're very thankful for that. But we're busy with people that have found us and hear what we're saying and say, I like your approach. If you want to work with us, please reach out. We'd love, love, love to hear from you.
Hola at yourpuravida.com or go to our website, yourpuravida.com/links. I'm glad we did another Q&A,
I love
Patrick.
Q&As. I love
They're
Q&A.
fun. Yes.
All right, Aaron, I will see you soon for another one. And until then, Puerto Vida.
Pura Vida.